I'm not playing.
Okay. Brunella, kill the sister.
Let's talk about Ready or Not 2, which I actually had the opportunity to watch at South by Southwest at its premiere a couple of days ago. And I will tell you, this is a movie that when I first heard about it, I was like, do we really need Ready or Not 2? I mean, the first one was good back in 2019 from Radio Silence, starring Samara Weaving. And I thought that that was great. It was fine. I heard they wanted to make a sequel and I was like, cash grab. This is just a cash grab, honestly. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt. I went into South by Southwest, had seen some of the trailers, and I said, you know what? This could be cool. It has David Cronenberg. This could be cool. So that was my basis there. I saw David Cronenberg. I was like, it could be cool. So go into South by Southwest. This is the first film I'm going to see. It is the premiere. There is a lot of buzz. It's at the Paramount. And if you've been to South by Southwest, you know the Paramount gets loud as hell for whatever reason. People want to scream. And at first, it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. Then it's just like, bro. But nonetheless, this is the sequel to Ready or Not. Let's see if it's great or not, right? The cast came out. The directors came out. They introduced the film. And let's go. So I was there seated, ready. Starts off pretty strong, I will say. Moments right after the disaster that happened in Ready or Not, we see that Samara Weaving, playing Grace here, has now survived and is ready to get back into her life. But it seems that she has caused a chain of events and now lead the rest of the very wealthy and powerful families to have to hunt her down in order to have the top seat at the house. And they're going to do whatever it takes. And what it takes is killing Grace. Whoever kills Grace first, that will be the family that goes to the top of the throne. And now it's a hunt. And it makes it a lot more complicated that her sister, played by Kathryn Newton, is now involved in as well. So now you have Samara Weaving, Kathryn Newton trying to survive another night. But now you have several families going to do whatever it takes, and if that means killing Grace, they're going to do that. And a lot of things happen in this movie, which we're going to talk about pretty soon. But spoilers will be in another video later tonight, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to keep this pretty spoiler-free. So the film basically tries to implement the same tactics we saw from the first one, a hide-and-seek game, a lot of crazy-ass kills, although they don't get as elaborate, I think, as they were in the first one. And specifically, another film that this will be compared to that comes out a week after is They Will Kill You. That definitely takes the creativity from the kills, and this one just kind of feels a little lackluster. And that's the problem I had with Ready or Not 2, right? This is a sequel. It's supposed to feel bigger. The trailers make it seem like it's going to be bigger and all of this, but ultimately I feel like we just were trying to do the same formula from the first one, and we add a little bit of flair here and there throughout. The third act specifically is a little bit stronger than I would say the first two acts, where it just feels like a caricature of the first film, and Samara Weaving sort of becoming a caricature of her own character from the first one. And it tries to add an emotional baseline to it with the characters of Grace and also her sister, played by Kathryn Newton, but it just doesn't really develop that in a way where I really care about the relationship at all. And I think that's where the movie starts to really lose its balance throughout, is when you're trying to find these emotional beats and they're just not hitting, and you're ready to go back to what makes it kind of like a good experience, is the wackiness of the other families that are trying to kill them and the dynamics between them. I think the film really shines in the interactions these families have with one another the most than what I got from like Samara Weaving and Kathryn Newton as sisters. It just didn't really vibe at all. The film does take a lot of tonal shifts throughout, which is okay. I think if a film does that, where it gives you a whiplash and that kind of creates an experience where you're laughing at one point and then another point you're kind of like, oh, what is happening right there? The tone's just not really handled or directed well here, and I gotta say, I think this is Radio Silence's weakest films because of that, because the film just feels like everywhere, like it's just like oozing out of all of these places, and it's not really contained or any of that. And I feel like they were getting the greatest hits from all of their other films here. Like there was a lot of Scream 5 and 6 5s here with the dynamics of the sisters, and there's a lot of feeling like they want to do a series like John Wick's going in right now, and they were just throwing all of these things at the wall to make it stick, because I just don't think there was a sequel ever planned or thought about here. It is just, this last movie made a ton of money. It was pretty low budget. I want y'all to do that again and give me more money. So that's pretty much how this movie feels to me. There are moments, like I said, that are highlights for me. Like David Cronenberg's part was great. I think some of the moments between Samara and Kathryn also work, but then there's some things with both of them that doesn't work. The dynamic between the families is definitely definitely the highlight of the film, seeing them interacting with one another. I thought that was very entertaining, very funny. I think that some of the times that they want to take the lore into these very wacky areas, it kind of works really great, especially that third act and the final, I would say 10-15 minutes of this film are where it's really exciting and fresh, but ultimately the rest just feels like it's just boring. And that's the worst thing a movie can be, because a film can have such a nonsensical or bad plot, but if you're giving me something entertaining to see on the screen and something incredible and something that's going to leave me in awe, it can be kind of forgiven that your story just kind of sucks. But if you're not giving me even that, and you're just expecting me to really love this film because I enjoyed the first one, which I think is a far superior film, that's when you're going to lose me. And sadly, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come shouldn't have came. But that's just my opinion. I think if you're a huge fan of the first one like I am, you're going to want to watch this just to see where the story and the lore evolve into. If you were on the fence with the first one and didn't enjoy it, I just don't see how you're going to even like this one at all. But if you're a huge fan of any of these actors, I think it's still fun to see. Overall, would I pay full price like at a regular ticket price? I definitely would stick with the matinee here, because I think that there's definitely some sequences here that seeing on the big screen might be fun and seeing it with an audience, but otherwise maybe just stream this movie if you want. Save that money, y'all, because there's some amazing movies coming out in the next couple of weeks. But overall, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, I was disappointed in. I was on the fence with it already. I got excited again after the trailers. I was excited with the buzz at South by Southwest, and then ultimately watched the movie, and I'm just here thinking, maybe I should have gone and watched something else that night, because there were some amazing movies playing as well as South by Southwest. Stay tuned for all of those reviews. Make sure you follow us and like, so you don't miss out on any of that, and hit that notification bell. But I will talk about spoilers in another video, because that's where I really can get into why exactly I didn't really vibe with this movie. So stay tuned for that video. And as always, that is going to do it for me. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers. That's our big goal. Let's get to it before the summer starts and we get into summer blockbusters and all of that. Very excited to give you all of my TIFF coverage pretty soon as well. Stay tuned for all of those videos, and I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.